Thank you, Congressman. Senator Shelby.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Tenet, I'm going to refer you to, I believe it's page 25 of your written statement. It's been made part of the record today. And I wanted to quote, I believe it's paragraph 3 from it, page 25, paragraph 3. I believe it's the second sentence. But when we realized surging wasn't sufficient, we began a sustained drumbeat, both within the administration and here on the Hill, that we had to have more money and more people and money devoted to this fight. The drumbeat began in '98 or before?
And I have to go back and look at my record, sir, but I believe it did, at least internally, in terms of what we were requesting. But I'll check that for you.
I want to go back to part of this is not classified, but this was in the appropriations hearing in '98, and the question to you and directed to you and Director Free at that time was about funding. And I'll leave out Director Freeze at the moment. He's talking about counterterrorism support. And then I'll you, and I believe it was Senator Arlen Specter, former chairman of this committee, was asking the question. And he was talking about resources. In quoting you, you said, Senator, responding to Senator Specter, I would like to respond and just say, I think we're already at war. We've been on a war footing for a number of years now. I do not think it's a question of money in our case. I think it's a question of focus, operational tempo, the aggressiveness with which we pursue this target. I do not have any doubt about the level of that effort today, and I would challenge your premise about the lack of human intelligence against the terrorist target. I think it's something we should talk about behind closed doors, because I think that effort is better than it has ever been and growing. I think there are successes to prove it in some of the facts we've laid down in open session. But my point is, you were saying, as we understood it in the context, I was in that appropriation hearing being an appropriator, that it was more than just money. It was a question of focus, operational tempo, the aggressiveness which we pursue these targets. These are your words.
Right. I believe we had all those things.
Do you disagree with that, your statement in 1998 for the Appropriations Committee?
Was it after the Africa bombing, sir? Do you know when it was?
Do you know?
Yeah.
It was after. It must have been after.
I'd also say that in roughly the same time period, you can go look at it for your record. Senator Kyle asked me a question in closed session about how much money we more needed for the community each year, every year, and I said between $900 and $1 billion in closed session for the years that followed. And I think that was in 1998 too.
And Director Mueller, you were not there on this occasion. You were not the director, but I'll read this in the record. And this same question was asked, basic question, by Senator Specter at the Appropriations panel to Director Free. And Director Free, and I'll quote him from the record, responded as follows. Senator, speaking of Senator Specter's question, first of all, I appreciate all your remarks and your support, particularly in the counterterrorism area, which goes back many, many years. We've grown in 3 years from a $93 million budget to a $243 million budget in counterterrorism. You and your colleagues were generous enough last year to give the FBI, I believe it's 1,264 new positions. We are hiring these people. We're training them. We're putting together both the human resources and the infrastructure to support the counterterrorism effort. We are in two or three times better condition in '97 than we were in '93 to undertake our counterterrorism mission, a mission which, as you point out, is a huge and growing one. We are in Saudi Arabia. We're taking fugitives back from Pakistan. We are in many, many places where we have not been, which is why we need our legats. We're doing everything we can right now to absorb this vast increase in resources. This is the Bureau, your predecessor. I would rather absorb that growth before we started another huge influx of resources. I don't know if Director Mueller, and I'm going to say again, you were not there, you were not the director, but you ought to familiarize yourself with this. I'll furnish you a copy of it.
Thank you, Senator.
My time's up. I'll wait another.